Hello and welcome to the 5 most critical ways to plan a game-changing year. This isn't about planning a pretty good year or a, a slightly better year. This is about a game-changing year. And I'll tell you my story. Basically, this is a shot of global headquarters. This is my parents' converted garage in 2003. I am trained as an artist, but I'm really an entrepreneur who was trained as an artist instead of an artist who was trying to do something entrepreneurial. And so I had this idea that I wanted to build a new business, obviously in this picture from scratch, that would create visual presentations for trial lawyers and would specialize in medical legal images. And so I had no money to start the company with, and you can even see here where I had two chairs facing each other to serve as a table for this giant diagnostic film scanner that I had bought on eBay, and a fax machine sitting on some old storage in my parents' converted garage. So those were the humble beginnings back in 2003. I then progressed into a 500 square foot studio apartment that I got for myself. It was apartment 1104, but on my business cards I put Suite 1104. So it looked like a real business. I had a 1-800 number ringing by my bed. I lived in there, I worked in there. Those are my parents' old dining room tables pushed together to make for a desk. I have no idea who that couple is in the picture frame there. I didn't have the time to actually put in a picture of somebody I cared about. But I acted as if I had this business. We had a great website, we had the 800 number, and every time I would go give a presentation to a prospective new client, I would always say, and we can, and our medical illustration team, and that sort of thing. And so that is the fake it till you make it stage. My dad used to keep me encouraged, and he would say things, "Don't worry, son. One day you'll be in your own building." I said, "Okay, Dad, thank you." But you have to believe in your dream, your purpose, and then you have to fight like hell for that dream until it eventually becomes real. Most people fight for it a little bit or fight for it for a little while, but you have to fully commit and go after that dream until it eventually becomes real, no matter how long that takes. And for me, fighting like hell for my dream meant working every night and every weekend and really making a lot of sacrifices. At 4 in the morning, I was downtown often, either coming or going to the office. And I started to get a little bit of momentum. This is us on the cover of the Financial News and Daily Record. And when I say us, that's an old habit because it was really me. And they shot this picture on the front page of the news in my apartment. When the reporter showed up, she thought she was showing up to a business, and I'd covered my bed with all these boxes and papers to try to make it look like an actual office. Then this is me on the cover of the Business Journal. Fortune magazine, a few years later, did a story about us. So within the first 4 years, we grew from just me in my parents' converted garage to a staff of 9 people. The fifth year, Fortune magazine did this spread about us with the headline "Innovators." Then CNN picked up the story, and this is us on the front page of CNN's website for their business section. Got to have the local news. We've been in the local news a bunch of times. Then we kept growing, and by a year or two after that, we had clients in 34 states around the country. Crazy, right? Remember what my dad told me? There you go. That's the building, our building, for our company, where we served clients all over the U.S., but from our one physical location. But I was tired out. I was stressed out, and I was burned out. And I was on the Business Journal's top 40 executives under 40, and all these cool things were happening. We were doubling our staff, quadrupling our office space, but I just felt tired, and I just felt anxious, and I felt like I wasn't happy. So, what was the point? And so, what I did was I drove myself here. This is the Ritz Carlton in Amelia Island. And I didn't get a room. I didn't buy even a granola bar. I just walked in with a notepad and a pen, and I parked myself by a window with a view just a few feet away from here in this picture. and I just determined to sit there and design and orchestrate the kind of year I wanted to have, the kind of business I wanted to have, and the kind of life that I wanted to have. And from that point, everything started to change. And so that's what I'm going to cover with you in this webinar today, the 5 things that I came away with in that day that eventually would change my life. And number 1 was to physically get away from everything, not stopping for email, not stopping to answer a phone call, not stopping to answer a question from somebody that pops into your office, to not do the work, what you do, the in the business stuff, but to physically get away and go back to ancient times when nothing could distract you and a good old-fashioned paper and pen, and start thinking of everything that I could never have block time for if I was in the thick of the day-to-day stuff. Number 2, look at the entire year from 30,000 feet up. And that's the difference between how a random day feels versus looking at an entire 12-month period. When you look at an entire 12-month period, you can start to look at seasonality. If you know June is going to be a really slow month for you, then looking at the months leading up to that, you can start to formulate a plan so that you can build your business to compensate for that dip that usually comes. You can try to plan some time for you to get away and take a vacation, because once you're in it and you're just doing what you do day to day, week to week, it's hard to step away. But if you look at an entire year in advance, it's a lot more realistic to be able to do that. You can plan your marketing for months and months in advance instead of making the mistake most business owners make, which is, man, we're kind of slow lately. We should do some marketing. That's a telltale sign that you haven't looked at the entire year from 30,000 feet up. Number 3, design the lifestyle first. Everybody, especially when they're starting a business, puts all their energy and time into designing the business, but they do little or nothing to design the lifestyle that they want. And what happens is your business will dictate the lifestyle that you live. So if you have certain things that are important for you, for your life, for your quality of life, for your family, the way you want to experience your time here, then do that first before you do the business, because you'll box yourself into certain things that you'll regret later on. But if you design the lifestyle first, write the rules of what has to be for you to be happy first, then as you develop new ideas and create strategies, you can filter that against what you have determined is important for you in your life. If it's a great idea, but one of your rules is, I don't work on weekends, then you have to think about that before you just implement something, and then you're missing your kid's soccer game for the 4th time this season. Design the lifestyle first. Determine what's important for you to be happy, fulfilled, and have the kind of relationships that you want to have, and then the business second. Number 4, be specific with strategies, tactics, and deadlines. Let's do more marketing this year is not a strategy or a tactic. Hoping to double in size is not a strategy or a tactic. Be very specific with exactly how you're going to do it. If you have a certain goal for the year, break that down by the month, by the week, by the day. Does your staff know what you need to bill out every single day to be on target? Do you know how many leads you need to be able to reach that goal? Do you know exactly when you need to accomplish certain things by? 3 months from now or 3 years from now is not a deadline, because if you set 1 year from now as a deadline, I guarantee you I could run into you in 2.5 months and you'll tell me, yep, I've got 1 year to double or whatever your goal is. But, for example, October 15th is not going to move. 1 year from now or 2 years from now or 8 months from now, that's a treadmill. That's permanently revolving 8 months from now, or 3 years from now, or 5 years from now. But when you declare a certain year and a certain date, that is a lighthouse in the ground and it cannot change. You can only fail to meet that deadline. And I've had this conversation with enough business owners to see it in their face when they know that they don't have that 3 months from now, or 1 year from now, or nothing at all. And you see it in their face when they say, oh boy, I really have to do this now. Number 5, get outside perspective and accountability to carry out the execution of the plan. Business owners don't have that many other people, if any, that they could get other opinions from, to brainstorm with, to bounce ideas off of, and to get outside perspective outside of their industry. If you take a bunch of lawyers and put them together, they'll talk about similar things and look at marketing and look at business in very similar ways. If they were to get opinions from somebody completely outside of the world, they'll get a fresh perspective they would never get from their peers. Accountability. When you are the leader of your organization, you know that you can get away with pushing things to the next day, or to the next week, or to the next month, or to the next year, or to just forget about it. How many times have you planned something and then a year goes by, you find some old piece of paper in your closet and you say, oh yeah, I forgot that we were going to do all of these things this year. Oh, but if you have a person or a group of people that aren't afraid to call you out, to put your feet to the fire, and to say, hey, you said you were going to do X by 3 weeks, and that was 3 weeks ago. Have you done it? You're going to have a much more likely chance of pulling off your big objectives. So get outside perspective, and then someone or people who can hold you accountable to carry out the execution of that plan. Plan the attack is a day to take care of all of these things that we've been discussing in this webinar. You get outside perspective. You get different people that are going to hold you accountable. You get physically away from your business to do this block time thinking, big picture visioning for your year, for your business, that you never get the time to do when you're in the business. You'll look at the entire year from beginning to end, and you create the kind of business that will allow you to have the freedom and the kind of lifestyle that you want to get when you put in the hard work and make all the sacrifices that we make as business owners. I hope you've gotten some ideas. I hope you've written some things down. Don't just watch this and listen. Take action. This has changed my life, and I know that it'll change your life. When Plan the Attack comes, be in that room. You know this would be good for you. Inaction is the biggest risk that you could take. Go to Plan the Attack on December 5th at Ponte Vedra Inn and Club, and I can't wait to see you there. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.